On this week's show, George Perez retires, Rob Liefeld returns, and your Ghostbusters reactions. It's Previews World Weekly, and it's happening right now. What's up, Previews World? It's Wednesday, it's 4 p.m., which means it's time for Previews World Weekly. I'm one of your hosts, Troy Jeffrey Allen.
And I'm Thea, and we're here every week to remind you guys to stop at a comic shop to get involved in the world of comics.
I was going to open with straight off the request line from Liberty Island. Decided not to. I'm going to pull back on the Ghostbuster references a little bit. But, of course, we're going to talk about Ghostbusters later in the show. But Monday, Shazam had a new trailer. It was like a second teaser trailer, kind
a
of?
little teaser.
I got a chance to look at it. I'm still kind of on the fence. I know you're all on board.
I am all on board. I think it looks like a lot of fun.
One thing I wanted to point out, and this is actually the only reason I brought this up, is Jaimin Hunsu, the actor. He's in Captain Marvel, and he's in Shazam, which is Captain Marvel. And they're like a month apart? I just thought that was really weird.
He's got one hand on each Captain Marvel there. Maybe not. Sorry.
That's okay. That's all right. I think on that note, we're going to switch gears. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at what's in comic shops. Anna Mee is here, and she's going to give us a segue because we got to go. That's too much.
Hey Previews World! Every week we give you the rundown on some of the books hitting the shelves for the first time. Here's what's at comic shops this week. And we're just getting started. The world of comics has even more to offer, so stop at a shop already, and you might just find your new favorite thing. See ya!
And of course, that's just a little bit of what we've got coming out this week. For the full list, go over to the PREVIEWSworld.com website /new releases, and you can see what else we've got going on. What are you eyeing up this week?
So I mentioned this before. I am falling down a 2000 AD rabbit hole.
Yep.
And it just so happens that Al Ewing, who writes The Immortal Hulk, which is a big fan favorite, and he also wrote The Ultimates, which is also another fan favorite, he's doing a book called 2000 AD Digest, Zombo. And I'm not familiar with this at all, but I am familiar with Al Ewing. But apparently, like a lot of great British writers, he came from 2000 AD, came over to America, started working on American comics. And the description is a flesh-eating zombie who terrorizes flight passengers. He also wants to be a pop star. And it's got a sci-fi element, so it's not it's not just an airplane. It's they travel to a different planet.
Oh.
So it's just out there and weird, and it just kind of feels like the type of thing that might be pretty amusing. And Al Ewing, he's got a good track record, so I'm down for it. What are you looking forward to?
Very good. I'm looking at that StarCraft book.
Oh yeah.
So I've been watching a lot of a particular StarCraft streamer lately, so I've just got StarCraft on the brain.
Oh, okay.
And this looks really fun. I mean, it comes from Jodie Hauser, right? She does Stranger Things and Star Wars, and she's teaming up with Blizzard Entertainment writer Andrew R. Robinson, who did the Overwatch anthology. And it follows Lieutenant Shivani Singh, who's in the Terran army, and it's basically how she has to defend the Dominion from the Zerg, and that's the sort of usual lineup of things that happen in StarCraft.
Right over
yeah, I know, right?
Yeah,
I'm sure you know all about this, Troy.
I'll stick to Halo.
I barely know most of it. I mean, StarCraft lore is a
Pretty
lot.
intricate, like most Blizzard things. I kind of feel
I mean, I guess it's relatively intricate, but they always sort of go back to the same characters a lot of the time, and it's nice to see them working with some new stuff.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we definitely did an interview with Jodie Hauser at San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And one of the things she talked about was just expanding on the universe because it's rich.
Always good. Yeah.
So,
there's a lot to work with there for sure.
Also out this week, got a nice studio favorite. Johnny and I have been talking for a while about Cosmic Ghost Rider. He let me borrow his Thanos Wins, and I still need to read it, Johnny. But Cosmic,
Get on it.
I'm definitely going to get on it because guess what? Guardians of the Galaxy #1 is out this week, which is a tie-in to Cosmic Ghost Rider as well. Yeah, like if you haven't read this book, it's actually just a really cool like reimagining of the mythos of Ghost Rider. As we all know, you make a deal with the devil.
Right.
We all know this, right? You make
Standard storyline.
Standard storyline. You make a deal with the devil. He imbues you with the power of the Ghost Rider. You have the penance stare and the spirit of vengeance. But this time it's Frank Castle, who's already kind of hell bent on vengeance.
Yeah.
So it's an
Kick it up
interesting
a notch.
take. And because it's Frank Castle, he's constantly trying to correct, but now he has the power. He has like this cosmic ability. So now he's trying to correct the universe. And I won't tell you what. But if you've been watching Infinity War, or at the very least, like you're looking forward to this new Guardians of the Galaxy book, you probably should read this one because he's getting involved with a character that he shouldn't be involved with, but it's actually it's pretty interesting. And also read Thanos Wins. I know I need to as well. So, what else are you looking forward to?
I am looking at Beauty.
So, from Image, right?
Yeah,
okay,
from Image. We're on to number 26 right now, but it just looks like a really cool storyline. I haven't actually managed to check it out yet. But the concept is, of course, that modern society is obsessed with physical beauty, right? And in this world, perfection is attainable, and it's basically like an STD. So a majority of society has taken advantage of this, needless to say, but they're finding out that, of course, it comes with repercussions.
Right, yeah.
And there are these two detectives, Foster and Vaughn, and they're sort of investigating what it is that happens after, you come to the terrible price portion of the attainable beauty.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
actually.
it just seems like an interesting concept.
Right, yeah.
So, could be cool.
Yeah, we'll have to hook you up the trade paperback. I remember when it initially came out and all the covers had these kind of glamour model images, but they were deformed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's an interesting concept. I'm actually should check that out myself. Yeah. So also out this week, I mentioned Guardians of the Galaxy #1. I am personally excited for it, just having read Cosmic Ghost Rider. It is an extension of Thanos Wins. Like I said, it's an extension of Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Has all the storylines going.
All the storylines. And the cool thing I think about this is that, people talk a lot about jumping on points, or people talk a lot about how they hate that a certain creative team is not together long enough to be on a book. There's always that issue of entry points.
Right.
But the beautiful thing about this is you can follow a line of a storyline. You can follow the line of logic through a storyline by just following Thanos Wins, Cosmic Ghost Rider, and now this, which is going to be an ongoing. Cool. So it's a nice book that you can get addicted to.
Sure,
basically.
it carries on and you don't have to worry about it suddenly cutting short and being like, but my characters.
Exactly. And also the other thing I've noticed is I never used to be big into the cosmic Marvel characters. They tend to be very self-serious. I mean, they're nice in special guest appearances, but the cool thing that Donny Cates and Jeff Shaw have done is they've made it fun.
Good.
And it's not as self-serious. I mean, there's always a bit of philosophical musings, in a lot of these type of comics, but it's a fun.
Get into cosmic anything, it's cosmic.
It has to be.
Yeah.
But this is going to be a fun one, so I'm really looking forward to it. And the big mystery is who's going to be on the team.
Right.
So there you go.
Cool.
What else should people look out for?
We also have Buffy #1 coming out this week.
Yeah.
So that's a really big thing. She's coming back to the comics, and of course it's under the guidance of Joss Whedon. And it's the Buffy Summers who wants what every teenager wants: friends, decent grades, and to escape her imposed destiny as the next in a long living line of vampire slayers, as one does.
As one does.
But the cool thing about this series is that they're bringing her into the modern era.
All right, yeah.
So we've got, a little more relatable environment, I guess, for the newer generations,
for 2019,
right?
Yeah.
And she's got new challenges, new friends, and a whole bunch of characters that you probably recognize from the old stuff.
There you go. I was very amused by there's a variant cover floating around of her tossing up the steak with the word "slay" on her shirt. I was like, okay, I see what you did there.
Solid, right? So things like that, throwing in some modern slang and stuff.
I mean, I figure if you're going to do with any character, do with that character.
Absolutely.
It actually makes sense there.
It works.
So, cool stuff. Coming to your local comic shop. Now we're going to take a look at news, and we're going to talk about some of the things that have been going on in the world of comics the last 7 days.
First up, we have Peter Parker, the black costume, the sinister secret called Venom. This spring, comic legends Peter David and Greg Land team up for an all-new tale that will explore Peter Parker just before he learned that his infamous black suit is an otherworldly evil symbiote. This is an in-continuity story of Peter Parker set in the weeks he was wearing the alien symbiote costume that would later become one of his greatest foes. And all your favorites are there. Black Cat, Aunt May, the Bugle. This is classic Spider action in the mighty Marvel manner. Don't miss the Spider-Man story everyone will be talking about. Symbiote Spider-Man #1 hits comic shops this April.
Nice. Now, that one, I'm a huge Peter David fan.
Yeah.
And I've been waiting for him to tackle Peter Parker Spider-Man for a while, because he used to do Spider-Man 2099, I think, up until pretty recently. So yeah, like I'm all for that. I'm just gonna blind buy that. Just Peter David.
It's happening.
Peter David, he's the best. Love it.
Bring it on, bring it on.
Bring it on.
So next up, you never know who might show up at your local comic shop. Cast members from Sci-Fi's Deadly Class came to Golden Apple Comics for a signing on the day the new show premiered. The story follows a disillusioned teen recruited into a storied academy for assassins. Deadly Class is a coming-of-age story unlike anything you've ever seen. Based on the smash hit Image Comics series of the same name by Rick Remender and Wes Craig. On Free Comic Book Day, May 4th, you can get a special one-shot standalone Deadly Class story for free. So yeah, it's pretty cool that these guys showed up.
Yeah, no, I wish more big stores used their comics. Well, I wish more shows use big stores as like fan events. I think that's a great way to promote shops, promote your show or whatever you're like trying to get across to people.
For sure.
It's really cool. Yeah, I still have not watched that show yet.
Me either.
I need to.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And Johnny swears up and down by
There
it.
you
But
go.
yeah.
I believe it.
I don't feel right. I'm like kind of behind on the comics, so I don't feel right watching the show until like I've been caught up thoroughly. Like I might have to wait until it comes on Netflix.
You're
or something.
allowed.
I'm allowed.
Come
It's more
on.
like a personal shame. Like
Yeah.
I
I used to be that way with like books to movies. Like
Yeah.
if I hadn't read the book, I wouldn't go see the
Yeah.
movie. But they're also different animals.
Yeah, they
so it's like even if they have the same storyline and stuff, that it's still going to be a completely different kind of thing because it's a different medium.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, they bring different things to the table.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I wish more stores would do that. I think that's awesome.
So next up, in the run-up to Detective Comics number 1000, issues 994, 995, and 996 of this red-hot series are set to return in new printings. Detective Comics 994 second printing, 995 second printing, and 996 second printing will reprint their respective stories by the team of writer Peter J. Tomasi and artist Doug Menke and Jamie Mendoza, with a recolored version of the original cover by Menke. All 3 issues arrive at comic shops February 13.
Yeah.
So big old milestone there.
Big milestone. I'm actually looking forward to that one. I think that's going to be a really cool one. Also, just want to remind people that 994, 995, and 996, they might still be at your store.
Yeah.
They're just sold out at the distribution level at this point. So that doesn't mean that you can't go to your comic shop and pick it up right now. And we don't have the artwork we showed wasn't the reprint. So there will be a reprint artwork. Just stay tuned to PREVIEWSworld.com.
Yeah. Keep an eye out for
All
the
that
cool
jazz.
new stuff, right?
Yeah, all the time.
So now we have an announcement that Rob Liefeld, a staple at Marvel from the 1990s, perhaps best known for creating Deadpool, is headed back to his roots. Entertainment Weekly has exclusively reported that Liefeld is writing a new Marvel comic miniseries titled Major X. The series will be 6 issues shipping twice a month from April through June and focus on the arrival of the title character, a mutant warrior from another realm, into the Marvel Universe. The story puts Major X into the universe right between New Mutants 98 and X-Force #1. By the series' conclusion, the events will have caught up to Marvel's current storyline. Major X will be available to pre-order in the February previews catalog.
I just want to point out there are feet on that cover, because I know everybody likes to drag him about that, but he has drawn feet on that cover.
He did it, and they look great.
And they look great. Also, I want to give a shout out to Will Spartasio, because one of the other things the press release said was that Portasio was actually involved in this project as well. He was another big name during the 90s alongside Rob Liefeld. He was an X-Men guy, so shout out to Will Spartasio.
Yeah. So we have the 2018 Diamond Gem Awards that have been announced. So Diamond Comic Distributors, selected by comic book specialty retailers and celebrated within the comic book industry as a key annual award honoring sales success. We've got DC Entertainment taking Comic Book Publisher of the Year in, 6 awards total, right? We have Marvel with 5, Image received 2 of them, Dark Horse received 2, IDW received the award for Game Product of the Year, Boom Studios won Comic Book Publisher of the Year, Viz Media received 2, and Diamond Select Toys won 2 Gem Awards, including Toy Manufacturer of the Year. So for the full list of awards and titles and products that made the cut, go over to the Previews World website and you can check them all out. There's an extensive list. There's some really cool awards.
It's pretty lengthy.
Yeah.
And actually, the image we showed is actually what the award looks like, which is pretty impressive. Oh. So there you go. Yeah, it's not a nice sculpture. That's a real
big
deal.
Old diamond.
Big old diamond. There you go. What else we got?
So finally, George Perez, the legendary comic book creator behind Crisis on Infinite Earths, the new Teen Titans, and more, has announced his retirement from comics. Perez announced his retirement with a statement that can be found on his Facebook page that due to a myriad of health issues, he's basically being forced to retire from the business of creating new comic stories. He made his professional debut in 1973's Astonishing Tales number 25 for Marvel, eventually working his way up to be an artist on The Avengers in 1975. He moved to DC Comics in 1980 to work on the launch of the new Teen Titans, though he would go on to work for both publishers later in his career. In his announcement, Perez also said he'll no longer be doing private commissions and will cut back on convention sketches. Yeah. So he'll still be out in the public a bit, but it's definitely being cut back because of all the health stuff.
All right. I mean, I'm glad he recognizes that, and you know, I mean, doing conventions can be pretty strenuous in themselves.
Taxing,
you know,
for
so
sure.
I get that. I know this is your guy, this is your boy, George Perez. You created one of your favorites.
Raven!
Yeah, right. So I mean,
my girl.
Yeah, I mean, happy retirement to him.
Happy retirement, you know. Even though if it's a bit of a forced retirement. You know, he's got to be sad to have to leave all that stuff behind in some capacity, but. He gets to chill now too.
And I mean, but like we said this before about even some of the other creators, some of the creators that passed. George Perez didn't pass, but there's some of the creators that passed. Like, you know, their work, their legacy has already been laid out.
Absolutely.
Like, you know, their work is going to live on forever. Like, there's a whole generation of kids who love Raven, who love the Titans, and number one of those characters. We just got an Infinity War movie, which is loosely based on a book he did, Infinity Gauntlet. You know, like, I mean, he's just, you know, you know, congratulations. Enjoy your retirement, dude. Like, whatever.
Take care of yourself.
And on that note, that's it for news, but we're going to now take a look at the Previews toy chest. Natasha's here, and she's going to show us some of the toys that have hit comic shelves this week. Check it out.
Hey Previews World, Natasha here, and I'm going to give you a look at some of the new toys and collectibles in stores today. Here's this week's Previews toy chest. Local comic shop has even more to offer. Support your LCS by visiting them today. As for me, I'll see you back here next week.
Thanks, Natasha. Plenty of action figures, statues, collectibles out this week. One thing I've definitely noticed was the Marvel Studios 10th anniversary Thor. They're doing a series of gold, kind of like Funko Pops, but also like they're low-key like statuettes, I guess, or something.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, it's celebrating 10 years of Marvel. And it just so happens they were giving that one away, and also some of the Funko Pops out this week. Yeah.
Shiny.
Very shiny.
Like, seriously, this thing and all of the gold versions of these characters are stupid shiny.
They are, yeah.
They're really, really gold. They're not playing around.
Right. I love it.
Absolutely, yeah. So we're giving all four of these guys away. We have Sora from Kingdom Hearts. We have Stranger Things 11 in her burger t-shirt with her little, was it ice cream or something going on there? We have Archie from Riverdale, and we have Shiny Gold Thor. So if you guys want to win all four of these guys, we want you to comment below on Facebook or YouTube, wherever you're watching. We know that Funko has a ton of licenses already. We want to know what you guys want to see them do. So let us know, and we'll take entries until next week.
Until next week, yeah.
And we'll pick a random winner.
Yeah, and I mean, good luck trying to figure out one that Funko doesn't have.
That's very true. They have so many.
They have so many, so.
Yeah. We'd also like to announce the winner from last week. So we have, we asked what your favorite costume for Spider-Man was, right?
That's right, yeah.
And V said that they like a Future Foundation costume for sure.
Yeah.
So you're our winner! Hooray!
Yeah, no, good job. Yeah, no, that's the Jonathan Hickman Fantastic Four costume, which is actually a pretty cool costume.
Yeah,
so yeah,
solid costume.
I'm down for that. I'm
Good
with
choice.
that. I also just want to make sure that our winner from last week, Bling Gordon, hit me up on Twitter, on our Previous World Twitter. I was like, how do I claim my prize? And I was like, oh, I forgot to contact you.
No.
So he watched the show. He knew that he won.
That's so funny.
But he had no one. So yes, we will contact you after we announce the winner on the show, and we will let you know. We might even do it the day before, just so I don't forget. So
Probably for the best.
Probably for the best. And now we're going to move over to trailers. This week, it's not out this week in comic shops. It's actually coming out next week. But Fight Club 3 is dropping from Dark Horse Comics.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, this is the third Fight Club, and it's written by Chuck Palahniuk. Check it out. That was Fight Club 3 from Dark Horse Comics by Chuck Palahniuk and Cameron Stewart. Definitely check it out. It's not, like I said, it's not in comic shops this week, but it will be out on the 30th next Wednesday. So we'll probably end up talking about it a little bit more on top of all that.
Prepare yourselves.
But yeah, it's about fatherhood, which I thought was kind of interesting. And I don't know how big of a fan you are of the original Fight Club movie, or I should say the book, because we were talking about the book last week actually. So yeah, I do know how much of a fan
Yes,
you are.
you do. Liar.
Right. My segue was awful. But I think it's interesting because it's about who is actually the father of Marla Singer's child. And so it's kind of coming down to, is it Jack or is it Tyler?
Oh.
You know, because they have the split personalities
Right.
thing. So I thought that was really interesting. Like, I was a little apprehensive about the idea of a Fight Club sequel. And then I heard the second one was good. And now this premise alone kind of makes me want to check it out. So
Yeah.
I'm into it. Also, Cameron Stewart's art's great. So I'm all for it. So let's move on to something a little bit more controversial. It shouldn't be controversial, but we're going to dive into the murky waters of the social swamp. Everyone was talking about the Ghostbusters trailer last week and the Ghostbusters announcement. So we're going to dive into that, and we're going to get your reactions, and then we're going to share some of our hot takes. Probably not as hot as some of yours. Let's check it out.
The Ghostbusters are back.
Yes, they are.
Yes, Ghostbusters 2020. They gave us a little teaser, right?
Yeah.
I got goosebumps. I love me some bustin'. Bustin' makes me feel good. So this is kind of really funny because I talked about the Ghostbusters 2020 comic last week
Yeah,
in
you
the
did,
show,
right?
right? So perhaps I can secretly tell the future.
Maybe.
But we wanted to know what you guys thought of this little teaser that they showed us,
Yeah.
and we have some reactions. Max Peter Powers said that he's looking forward to it, although wonders what they'll do without Ramus.
That's
Sad face.
a good point. Yeah.
Charlie B says Ghostbusters can never be the same without Holtzman. Is Cool Bear says, why reboot/deboot? Just give us a good story, or better yet, come up with a new story. Nobody likes rewarmed leftovers.
I mean, that's
But I don't
fair.
like
but
it. Okay, so
yeah, let's do it.
here we go.
Uh-huh.
But it's not. I mean, it's continuation. It's not like they're.
Right. Yeah.
It's just the same timeline.
Right.
They're just going back to the original timeline. I mean, and you were saying earlier that like women are not an issue really in the Ghostbusters world.
like I don't know. I got to be careful when I say this, but yeah, I think we make issues out of things, and I think, well, I'll put it like this. Larger media sites make issues out of things.
Yes.
And if you're a fan of something, you know these things inside and out.
Yes.
And they sometimes make claims that are not true.
Yes.
And one of them is that, this idea that there's never been a female Ghostbuster. And that's
not even true.
Absolutely false.
Not even true.
Like from the cartoons to the movie, well, not the movies, but from the cartoons to the comics, not to mention that one of the selling points for the original film, even though she's not a Ghostbuster, was Sigourney Weaver.
Exactly.
Like she was a huge star at that point
Yes,
in time.
she's a major character.
You know?
Like, it's not like there aren't women represented.
Right.
And it's funny to me that a lot of my friends that I have noticed reacting to this trailer have been talking about how they liked the third movie because of the all-female team. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't actually watch it because I love the first two so much.
And you're not alone.
And I was a little scared because that's my childhood. Those are my guys, you know, those are the Ghostbusters for me. And of course the cartoons too. I love all those characters as well. I watched those. So I was scared of the third movie, and I'm still scared of the third movie. I'll probably watch it anyway. But I'm really excited about going back to the original timeline.
I mean, I think it's appropriate. I like the thing that really gives me like a lot of hope for this. And I mean, we haven't seen much of anything. There was a teaser.
Exactly. We literally just saw the back end of the ecto.
Yeah, which is fine. But like, you know, it's a teaser. Like, you know, I think some people were raising issues of like, well, you know, if they haven't shot it yet, you know, which is true. They haven't shot it as far as we know. Like, why are we getting so hyped up?
We
and
know
I mean,
nothing. We know nothing.
But that's all the more reason
we are
to
all
be.
Jon Snow.
Right, there you go. We know nothing.
We know nothing. But we don't know who's in it. We don't know if there are female characters in it. We don't know what direction it's going at all.
Right.
I mean, it could go the direction of the comic that I was talking about last week, in which case they have the original characters and a whole new lineup.
Right. I mean, I think passing of the torch is inevitable.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's very necessary. But yeah, one of the things that's like giving me hope about this is two things. Dan Aykroyd's original concept was Ghostbusters in Hell. Like, that was his original concept for a third Ghostbusters movie. And if Dan Aykroyd is definitely involved, and if they're bringing, like, you know, the original crew back, like, that idea in itself sounds like a great movie.
I'm like, yes.
Yeah, you know? The other thing, too, is, like, is Jason Reitman is the son of Ivan Reitman. And not so much that it's the son of Ivan Reitman. I mean, that's a big part of it, for sure, because he gave a really impassioned, like, talking point about growing up with them making the movies.
Right, exactly.
But also, like, the fact that, like, he's done comedy. He's done actually quite a few comedies. And he did Thank You for Smoking, he did Juno, he did, I think it's called Adulthood with Charlize Theron. He did another movie with Charlize Theron recently, and another movie that's just in theaters right now. Like, he has a very sly comedy style that fits this type of thing.
Which I'm excited about.
Right.
That's what I love so much about the originals. And I think that's what a lot of people love about the originals.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So, you know, it gives me hope. I think that, you know, Sony isn't going to say mea culpa, but, like, this is a mea culpa. Like, this is Sony just kind of, like, backtracking. It's also interesting to me that this kind of, we're still feeling the ramifications of the Sony hack. Yeah. Which I also think is kind of interesting. Like, this whole thing started with the Sony hack. And, like, details coming out about the making of the film, and then also them kind of strong-arming Bill Murray, which was also kind of interesting.
Right?
So, you know, here's the thing. You made a movie off of bad faith, out of bad faith. Now make a movie on good faith. And, you know, as far as, you know, Paul Feig and Sony, all this stuff, don't insult the fans. Like, it's just a bad move. Just in general, it's just a bad move. They're your base.
They are your base. They're where it comes from for you guys. Like, don't insult the people. Don't, you know, bite the hand that feeds you, right?
Exactly. Like, it's the simplest, like, oldest adage, right? Like, just don't insult the fans. Do things in good faith, and the fans will come. So,
that's true.
Yeah,
Build it, and they will come.
And they will come. Yeah. So I'm all for it. Like, I like it. I haven't seen 2016. I actually bumped it up to my Netflix queue because I actually had forgotten about it.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna watch it just to give it a fair shot.
Right.
But at the same time, like, Ghostbusters in Hell. Like, I mean, if that's what they're going to do,
it would be really great. Yeah.
Conceptually, just sounds 10 times better.
Yeah.
So I'm all for it.
Me
but,
too.
I don't know. Was there anything else you want to say? I just gave
good.
my impassioned speech.
We both did. We've got feelings.
We got feelings on this
We
subject.
like the Ghostbusters, okay?
Yeah, we do. Whatever. So, and hopefully this will set a precedent because, like, I feel like Sony had to do a bit of like backtracking last year with the Spider-Man franchise.
Yeah.
And they course corrected.
Yes,
you know, and I guess this year will be Men in Black.
Yeah.
And then next year's will be Ghostbusters. So yeah, all good things.
All good things.
All good things. There's nothing to worry about just yet.
Yeah.
So, And I guess that's it for us this week, but we have a few more things that we always like to do every episode. First of all, our comic shop shout out.
Yes, as usual, we want to know what your guys' favorite local comic shop is. Let us know on social media, wherever you can find us. Use the hashtag #SupportYourLCS, and we could shout you out on our next show.
Yeah, and we actually have a comic shop shout out for this week.
We do. So we have A1 Comics in California, and that was sent in by LMike777.
Nice, yeah. So we're going to go ahead and give you a few shots of A1 Comics in Cali, and that's it for us this week, guys.
Absolutely.
I'm Troy Jeffrey Allen.
And I'm Thea, and we'll see you at the Spinner Rack.
Bustin' makes us feel good.
Thanks for watching Previews World Weekly. If you like the show, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future episodes.